So earlier this month, I showed you guys a full review on the Infiniti Q50 Red Sport. Now, today I'm actually on Kent Island, right across the Bay Bridge in Maryland, and I'm at a WAPA rally event driving a lot of cars. So I'm going to do my best to show you guys a review on what I can. And a lot of you have been asking me to review the all-new Q60 Coupe, and I was lucky enough to get my hands on one. So let's take a look and see all the changes that Infiniti has made for the 2017 model year. Now, a lot of you will recognize that Infiniti has been kind of struggling to find their identity in the marketplace. I mean, ever since the company axed the familiar names like the Infiniti G, the Infiniti M, the FX, and replaced it all with the Q, QX nomenclature, a lot of people have been really confused with the lineup of the Infiniti brand in general. Now, the Q60 actually is the replacement for the old G37 Coupe. If you guys watched my Q50 review, you know that that is the sedan version of this car. The Coupe we've been waiting for quite a few years actually, and I'm happy to say that I think it was actually worth the wait. This all-new Q60 sports a design language that is very Infiniti, from the swooping curves to the beautiful standard LED headlights and LED taillights. I mean, the entire silhouette of this car is certainly a very striking one. Now, I personally have never been a fan of curvy designs. However, I think the Q60's lines are very, very attractive, much better looking versus the slightly bulbous proportions of the sedan of this car. Now, you can see at the front, LED headlights, as I said, are standard. You also get LED daytime running lights and LED turn signals, so they are a full LED headlight. The same swept back headlight with the Infiniti signature grille. You get a slightly different finish based on whatever trim level you get. Now, speaking of the trims, my particular one that I'm showing you is the top of the line Red Sport 400 model with the company's all-wheel drive system. You can start at the base with this Q60 with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder and rear-wheel drive. That's a different review. This is essentially the model you guys have been asking me to film. Now, in terms of the proportions of the Q60 Coupe, it still stretches on a 112-inch long wheelbase, about 184.5 inches long. It's about 5 inches shorter than the sedan, and it's about an inch wider. So Infiniti gave this car all the right proportions. It sits low to the ground, it's wider, it's shorter than the sedan, and out back, the taillights very much mimic the front of the car. I actually think the rear of the car is probably the least attractive angle. I think the front looks a lot better. This car is especially striking in this iridium blue metallic paint color. It offsets really nicely with the red painted brake calipers that you get on this updated Red Sport model. Now, speaking under the hood, this one has the 3-liter twin turbo V6, the same as that Red Sport 400, 400 horsepower, in case you couldn't tell from the name of this car. But enough about the gorgeous exterior. Let's take a look at the inside and see some of the changes that Infiniti has made for the 2-door version. Now, just like in the sedan, my tester does have the company's smart key access system with remote start. To turn on the remote start, you just push the lock button and then push and hold this, and the vehicle starts right up for you. Now, to unlock the door, all you have to do is keep the key fob on you and just touch the back of the door handle, and that unlocks the door for you. Now, looking at the interior of the Q60, you can see it's pretty much identical to the Q50 sedan that I showed you guys last month. The seats, of course, they are a different design. Very beautiful seats. I really like the contrasting interior that my tester is, with this beige leather with the contrast stitching and the piping. The steering wheel, you can see, is different. It's a new steering wheel. It looks a lot better. It's really good, high quality leather, good feel in your hands. Now, stepping inside, you immediately feel how much lower the Q60 is versus the Q50. This is a low slung sport coupe. It needs to be that way. Now, shutting the door, you can see there's a pillarless glass. It sounds pretty good, nice solid thunk, which is what you expect in a luxury sport coupe like this. Now, looking at the rest of the interior at a glance, first let me take it out of remote start mode. To do that, you put your foot on the brake and then push this button here to take it out of the remote start mode. Then of course everything comes to life. The gauges identical to the Q60 or Q50 sedan. I kind of wish Infiniti made it a little bit different. I mean, I applaud them for the new steering wheel, which looks nice, but I wish the gauges were red. This is the Red Sport 400 model. Why is there no red in this interior? But looking at the rest of the dash, you can see here leather stitching on the upper portions and the lower portions. Very, very nice. The Q50 sedan did not have the leather stitching. The stitching continues throughout the upper door panels. This optional carbon fiber look silver trim is available. It's a pretty nice looking finish. It goes really nicely with the aluminum door handle. More leather stitching down here. The windows are one-touch automatic for both fronts, so that's nice that they gave you that. And then looking at the center stack here, you're going to notice it's the same Infiniti InTouch dual screen layout. Now I had my reservation, so I'm not going to go too much in depth with this. If you guys want to see that, make sure you watch my Q50 review. I'll show you how the system works. I mean, it works pretty much like all the other Infiniti systems. The touch response is good. You have your Infiniti drive mode selector here, which I'm going to show you because this car has the direct adaptive steer technology. So when I go to the drive mode selector, I can alter the suspension, I can alter the steering, I can alter the engine and transmission, and this also has the active trace control. Now, because this has the direct adaptive drive, it has the steer-by-wire technology, which means that the steering itself actually isn't connected to a linkage. Now, there is an emergency linkage in case the power goes out, so that's there as a fail-safe, but I'll go into the driving dynamics later on. You can see the navigation system. Infiniti could really use an update for their infotainment system. It just doesn't have the wow factor that some of the German competitors have, and I also don't think they need the dual screen layout. It's just completely really unnecessary. This system is also missing Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. I really hope Infiniti decides to give you that feature in the coming years. But putting the vehicle into reverse, you do get a standard backup camera with a 360-degree round view system. That's part of a technology package that Q50 I showed you didn't have. So this is very, very nice, elaborate looking screens. Infiniti pretty much pioneered the 360-degree around view system. It also has parking sensors as well. So backing this vehicle in and out of tight parking spots shouldn't really be too much of an issue. Now, looking at the rest of the controls here, I like the fact that there are standard buttons here for your climate controls. I wish there were more knobs in here. There's really only one knob for the radio, but at least they gave you that. Tuning is done by this little button right here. You have heated seats right here, which are surprisingly only one level. Or actually, no, it's 3 levels. There's an automatic mode. When you push it, it cycles between automatic, high, mid, and low. No cooled seats, though. I'm a little disappointed to see that there are no cooled seats in this car. I kind of expected it in a vehicle in this class. Now, for now, a 7-speed automatic is the only transmission. We're not sure if Infiniti will bring back the 6-speed. It really depends on how many owners request it. So it's really up in the air. And if you don't want to use the touchscreen, you can also use the controller here. I personally don't like touchscreens, so this is probably the reason why I may use the controller, just so you don't have to get your nasty fingerprints all over it. But push that button here, it brings up your cameras whenever you're stopped. So if you need to check a distance or something like that, you can do that. Whenever you put it in drive and start driving, though, it'll turn off. Now, looking at the rest of the center console here, really nice soft leather. This doesn't adjust, but it's in a good position for me. The center console is a decent size, and everything in there is lined with felt. This material here, same from the doors, looks really nice. I'm very pleased with the overall aesthetics of this interior. I just don't think that Infiniti did enough to differentiate it from the sedan, and there really needs to be some red in here. Honestly, I'm going to keep complaining about that. But looking at the glove compartment, it is a pretty good size. It's about the same as the sedan. It's lined with felt. It's damped. There is no pano sunroof available like some competitors, but you do get a standard size moonroof. The headliner is lined in a nice softer material, but overall, the interior feels a lot lower, a lot sportier and cozier, but I just wish that there was a little bit more differentiation between the coupe and the sedan. To access the back seat, you have to pull this lever here that moves the seat up, and then you have to push this button right here, which moves the seat forward. So it does take a little bit longer time because the seat is powered, but when you get to the back seat here, which I'll show you really quick, the back seat is definitely on the tighter side, but you know, that's kind of what you expect for a coupe. But bringing the seat back here and then pushing this button, oh, that's nice. It actually moves the seat back too when you push the button. This is essentially where I had the seat, which is going to keep coming back. The floor is actually low enough for me so I can actually get decent space. There is good foot space underneath the front seat, but of course you're going to notice the legroom in here is definitely reduced. The headroom is also reduced because the floor is sloping. It's lower from the coupe factor. This is only a 2-seater in the back, so it seats 4 total. There's no center seat here. There's no seat belt for it. There's also no armrest. I kind of wish Infiniti had give you an armrest if they're only going to seat 2 back here. But the material's surprisingly hard touch plastic up here, but it is leather stitched down here where you're going to be resting your elbows. The trunk capacity of the Q60 coupe has also been reduced compared to the sedan. You're looking at around 9 cubic feet of space. I think it's like 8.7, which is not bad. The opening is definitely a lot smaller. The seats themselves, they do fold down in a single piece, and you can see the floor is a little bit higher as well. Now, looking underneath the floorboard here, it looks like there's no spare tire. This car probably comes with run flats or fix-a-flat kit. My guess is that my tester probably has the run flats, so those of you who prefer a spare, you may want to keep that in mind. Now, underneath the hood of this beautiful new coupe is Infiniti's new engine. This is the same engine in the Q50 that I showed you, the company's new VR 3-liter twin-turbo V6. Now, in this application, it makes the most power. It makes 400 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. There is a downgraded version of this engine that produces 300 horsepower. That's a different review. It all goes through either rear drive or all-wheel drive, like my tester, through a 7-speed automatic transmission. Now, this vehicle weighs around 4,000 pounds. It's a pretty heavy car, and fuel economy is rated at 19 city, 26 highway on premium gas, of course. Let's get it out on the road and see how it all works together, shall we? So first, setting off in the Q60 coupe, I have to say the driving experience is very familiar to the sedan, at least, you know, at initial launch. The steering is definitely something that I want to talk about because this has the steer-by-wire technology, which is definitely weird. But overall, the feeling here is nice. I like the feeling of the sportiness, the sleekness. This does feel a lot lower, sit a lot lower versus the sedan. Holy shit! Whoa, this thing is still just as fast as I remember from the sedan. Holy smokes. Oh, feel that torque. It just shoves you into the back of your seat. That's just crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So does this Q60 drive as good as it looks? I have to admit, it's a very, very sleek, fun, fast luxury sport coupe, and I expected no less. I was very impressed with the sedan when I first drove it. The engine still makes all the right noises. Really, the only thing that holds it back is this conventional 7-speed automatic. Now, it's a decent transmission, but a car that looks this good, that drives this fast, really deserves a manual or a dual-clutch transmission. It needs to shift a little bit quicker just to, you know, go with the overall feel. And the exhaust of the car is also a little bit quiet. I don't really hear the exhaust quite as much as I'd like to. Mostly what I hear is just a lot of induction howl. And I'm not sure if that's artificial or not. But it does sound good, but, you know, I expected it to be a little bit louder. If you guys drive the Mercedes-AMG C43 Coupe, it's going to have more bark from the exhaust, more of those crackling noises that some of you may or may not prefer. It really just depends on your preference. Now, the ride quality is also another thing I want to talk about because this car, it has an adjustable suspension, although it isn't air suspension, it's just adjustable dampers. And I have the suspension in its standard setting right now, and it rides really nicely, actually. Even though this car has 19-inch wheels on 245 tires, the car soaks up bumps pretty well. It's very quiet in here. It's very refined. You don't really hear any road noise per se, although the windows do emit some wind noise into here, I noticed, and it just doesn't sound quite as bank fault silent as some of the German competitors, so you guys need to keep that in mind if you're going to be cross-shopping the cars. Now, I'm going to switch the suspension over here to sport setting and let that kind of settle out. Now, everything's now in sport setting. The engine's in sport, the steering's in sport dynamic, the suspension's in sport, and I'm not really noticing too much of a difference in the ride quality. Now, this road that I'm on is a pretty smooth road, so I'm gonna have to get on to some bumpy roads to really test that out. But the car's just a really good daily driver, and that's one of the reasons why you guys may be looking for a car like this is because it's fast, it's classy, it's elegant, it's sporty. It pretty much is supposed to do everything for you. It's supposed to be your one car, do anything basically. But overall, you know, you're gonna be really impressed with the driving dynamics of this Q60 for sure. Now going to some corners here, let's talk about the steering. Because this is the next generation of Infiniti's direct adaptive steer, and I have to say, the steering itself is weird. Oh my goodness, it's very weird. You know, it's quick enough, the precision when I turn the wheel. However, it feels like I definitely feel the fact that it's not connected to anything, because when I turn the wheel like this, the car changes directions in a way that I don't anticipate it to. It doesn't feel natural, which, you know, honestly, it's still the first of its kind. It's something that you're gonna have to get used to, but, you know, is it terrible? No, but is it weird? Yes, it's very weird. The car it's not predictable, and I still think Infiniti needs a little bit of tweaking to do to get rid of that video game like feel. It's definitely an interesting aspect of the car, but at least when you are going through the corners, the suspension doesn't really lean that much. Now granted, I do have the all-wheel drive model. I would prefer to be driving the rear drive model, but you know, with all-wheel drive you just have grip for days. Oh shit, this thing's so fast. Oh my god, that's fantastic. That's really just woo. Oh god. Oh man. You know, if Infiniti tweaks the suspension or tweaks the steering a little bit more to give you less of that artificial video game feel, gave us a manual or a dual clutch, this car would be really, really fantastic. But with all that said, let's talk about a few numbers here. Now, I didn't get a chance to really drive this car on a long route. The Q50 did right around 20 miles per gallon, so I imagine this will probably do the same. The two cars weigh identically. It is rated at 1926. Improved gas mileage, but still not really tops of the class like some of its other competitors, namely the BMW 340i or 440i, whatever. The price of the Q60 Coupe is also an area where it is less expensive than a lot of its competitors. This car starts at $38,900 for the base 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder with rear-wheel drive. I'm driving the Red Sport 400. It starts at $51,500 for the rear drive model, at $2,000 for all-wheel drive. Now, my tester has several options on it. The thing about Infinitis is they do offer several different packages on the car. I've got the Premium Plus package, the Technology package, the Touring package, the Direct Adaptive Steer, this optional silver carbon fiber look trim. My tester stickers for around $61,500, which, whew, that is a good amount of money, especially for an Infiniti. I mean, it automatically makes it more expensive than its Lexus competitor, more expensive than the Audi competitor, unless you go for the S5, which is still not out yet. So you are paying a pretty penny relatively for this car, but it does give you one of the most impressive performance figures. I mean, 400 horsepower, that's more power than what you get in the Mercedes, and the Audi, and the BMW. So you do have that bragging right. Now, in terms of the speed, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds sounds right about the same as the sedan and its competitors. So, I mean, you are getting a really fast car, and with the all-wheel drive grip, it's a super, you know, sure-footed, confident car that you can use in all year conditions, pretty much. Now, overall, would I choose the Q60 over its competitors? I haven't really had a chance to drive all of them yet, so stay tuned for my full review on those. But if you guys are on a budget, just keep in mind that even though this car is over $60,000, you can, you know, not choose some of the options that my tester has, and it'll be around the high $50,000 range, which still is less expensive than the Mercedes or the BMW counterpart. But overall, it really comes down to if you like the design of this car, you like the looks, you like the interior, you like the brand, and I think Infiniti is doing a good job with trying to find their brand identity. So anyways, with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview of this 2017 Infiniti Q60 Red Sport 400. If you're in the market for a luxury sport coupe, and you don't want the typical German competitors that all your neighbors have, make sure you check this one out. And if you guys are also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, make sure you follow me on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, keep subscribed to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.